Hello, everyone. Thank you if you're tuning in to this live. Thank you for watching. And also, thank you for watching the playback. So, this is going to be a rather lengthy video. I'm going to try to keep it a little organized. Hopefully, I keep it organized, but it's going to be a rather lengthy video. Just put that out there, because I have to explain everything from beginning to end. Also, I wanted this to be get ready with me Gyaru makeup tutorial slash story time. However, I'm not really good with doing my makeup and listening to the how do you say it, and speaking, well, telling the story and doing my makeup. So this is the results though, and I think it turned out fabulous. I think I did a really great job on the Gyaru makeup. Looks really, really good. I did the base with foundation, of course. I primed my eyes with concealer. Both eyes primed with concealer and bronzer. And this is how it turned out when I actually put the eyeshadow on. I don't know who it was that suggested Gyaru makeup, but somebody suggested Gyaru makeup the last live that I was on. Well, the live before that, I can't, it was the one where I did the wax tutorial. And I was like, what is that? That sounds interesting. Because they kept telling me, they were like, you should try Gyaru makeup. And I was like, okay. So I tried it, and so far I loved it. I love it. I looked at some tutorials, some photos, and it looks really nice. However, besides that, I want to actually get into the video and talk about what this is about. This is my story time. I actually have what people may consider, or what people may say, an incurable disease. I do have one that. So before people jump to conclusions about what they think it is, let's start from the beginning. So this is like the intro. I went to do a yearly checkup, and this had to be, I want to say 2021. From my memory, I believe it was 2021. If not 2021, it was 2022. And, but I want to say it was 2021. That's what we're going for. Hi. Hello. Somebody in the chat speaking. When I went for that checkup, it was like a yearly exam. Like I was getting, what do they call it? Those cervical cancer checks, you know, STI checks, things like that. Your yearly exam, your pap smear, things like that. I asked the lady when she came in, the nurse practitioner, to check me for everything. If you know what I mean when I say every STI, everything. Because at that time I had started, for a long time, I was a virgin. So it was my first time, doing that. So I said, hey, I just started becoming, excuse me, I'm sorry, my daughter's speaking. Soraya, stop, stop. Shh, gotta go in there. Go in there, because I'm on the live. You can't make noise, sweetie. I'm sorry. Sorry. So for a long time, I was very sheltered as a child, and I did not become sexually, hopefully I can say that on here, because this is YouTube. They censor a lot of things. For a long time, I was not active in that way, or active at all. Like I said, I was a virgin. So once I started with my partner at the time, I did ask the nurse or the nurse practitioner that was doing my yearly exam, hey, check me for everything. Now I now in my opinion, I was like, oh, everything's gonna come back fine. This is just something I do. This is normal. I want to get into the routine of getting regular checkups. That's why I'm doing this. This is in my mind, right? So, because if you trust your partner or you trust your hi Z, hi, hello. But if you trust your partner, you're not gonna think. And then if you've been I know that's an ignorant way of thinking. Oh, I was a virgin and I have a great partner. They can't lie to me. There's no way they could lie to me. I know that's an ignorant way of thinking, but that's just how I thought at the time. Very naive, very green. Okay. Anyway, they do everything, they run the test, and I leave the office because everything's done. I'm just waiting for all the results to come back at this point. Everyone's saying hi in the chat. Hello. So as I wait and wait. I didn't hear anything back for I would say maybe like a week. I didn't hear anything back. I can't remember, but it wasn't, I didn't wait for a long time for the results to come back. They were pretty swift about how they returned the results. So, hello everybody. Thank you. Thank you for all the comments. So they were pretty swift with everything. So the clinic that I actually went to has what do they call it? It's like an online view of your results and your information. However, I didn't find out like that. I actually talked to somebody. So one of the ladies from the office called me and she was like, "Hi, is this Zari? Hi, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Hi. Are you the lady from the office?" And she was like, "Yes, I am. I'm calling from so and so's office, doctor's office, and I just want to let you know everything came back fine and everything looks good. You were clear for HIV, AIDS. You don't have any of those things. Everything looks pretty good. No cancer, nothing. However, you have," and I was like, "Oh my God." So, and they were like, "Yeah, you have that." And then I said to myself, there's no way I could have that. There's no way. And I'm going to be fully transparent with you all. It was HSV-2. So that is herpes simplex virus. And I was like, there's no way that's not possible, right? And they were like, yes, it is possible. It showed up in your bloodstream. You do have that. Yes, that's true. And I was like, no, no, there must be some type of mistake. And when I started saying that, that was when the lady that was calling, I'm assuming she was the clerk, she quickly gave the phone to someone else. And I was like, oh my God. So I think it had to have been like the nurse practitioner that she gave the phone to, or it was another healthcare provider there. And they explained to me that I did have it and that it was showing up. And if I had any breakouts or any severe, well, if I had a severe breakout, that was when I needed to come back to the clinic to get treated or to have medicine. So let me tell you, when she actually said that, like when she said the word, she didn't even have to say Like, she didn't even have to go any further. I was just bawling and so upset and couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, there is no way. And then I asked my partner at the time, did did they have it? I said, you have to have it because there's no way I had that before you. I was not active. I was not doing that. So you had to have had it. And he was like, maybe you got it another way. Now, me being naive and believing them, I believed that. I know that's foolish, but I started to believe that because I was like, why would they do this to me if they knew that they had it? Not not being, I don't know, I just was very naive at that time, just very green and, you know, I was what they call bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and didn't believe that people could be that evil towards you, that they would knowingly know they had something and then just give it to you just because they wanted to, just because they wanted to be low down. So quite naturally, I just, so I just believed it. I was like, okay, well, are you sure? And he was like, well, I don't believe you have that. They're lying. That's what he said, my partner. So I was like, I don't know. They couldn't have been lying if it was showing up in my bloodstream. He said, yeah, just because it's in your bloodstream, that doesn't mean you have it. Anyway, I decided to get a second opinion, went to another doctor, and I was even more confused. So apparently, if you have herpes simplex, the herpes simplex virus, they can't necessarily tell if you actually have it unless you have an outbreak, because they have to test the outbreak to make sure that it's actually herpes that's causing the outbreak, which is very insane to me. So I was like, so you don't know if I have it or not. And this is from the second opinion that I was getting. I was getting a second opinion from another doctor, and they were like, yeah, I'm not going to know that until you have an outbreak. And it was such confusing information. And then that happened. And so at that point, I really didn't know what to believe. I didn't know whether or not I had it or I didn't have it. I was just so confused. So that was the beginning of the diagnosis. Like, so that's first part of this video, the diagnosis. I remember feeling so bad. At that time, I felt like I was in so much shame, so much hurt, so much pain from the diagnosis and when I was told the first time. And then when he actually told me, like the other care provider, the second opinion that I was getting, when he actually told me that he didn't know whether or not I had it unless I had an outbreak, unless he tested the actual outbreak, I was confused. So then I was in denial in a sense. But also, I was in the state of not knowing whether or not I did. So it was crazy. It was insane. And at this time, I was still with the partner that gave it to me. So just all around confused, in denial, ashamed, everything, all of the above. So then I just, I was like that for a few years. I became pregnant. I had a baby, and we're going to get back to that story right there. So let's fast forward. I break up with my partner for other reasons I will not name in this video. I won't go into those details. I won't go that far. However, we're just fast forwarding this story. So I break up with them, and I believe that's 2022, 2023, one of those years. I leave them, we separate. I have my daughter with me. We that type of thing has happened. So fast forward to and at this time, I'm just a single mother, not dating, and I haven't dated anyone since. I think I talked to one person. I think I dated one person, and that's it. Nothing happened between them. It was just a regular dating experience. And that's it. After that, I wasn't very celibate, not dating anyone. It's still the same thing to this day. And then in last year, so that was 2025, I began to feel some pain. And you know where down here. And it was very painful. It got to the point where if I had to use the restroom and I had to urinate, it hurt so bad. The pain was like glass, shattered glass. It was so bad. That's the only way I can explain it. And I was like, man, this really hurts. I don't know if this is normal. So I go to the doctor in urgent care, and a I believe it was a PCA. No, not a PCA, a PA, meaning a physician's assistant. So, or a physician's associate is what some people may call them. And the PA there at the urgent care told me that that's what it was, because they were like, I don't need to test it. I can see it. That's what it is. And I was like, well, what about what the doctor said from years ago in 2021? They were like, well, you know, they were telling me that they wouldn't know if that's what it was for sure unless I had an outbreak. And she said, well, the PA was like, well, from my training and from my education when I went to school, if it's in your bloodstream and you see these strange or weird breakouts on your skin in areas like that, that's what it is. You don't have to test it. You can just look at it and realize that that's what it is. It's herpes. Oh my God. It's like my mouth dropped. My whole persona, well, not persona. I don't know why I said that word, but my whole mind just was like, no, this cannot be me. This cannot be my story. No, but it is. But it was, and it is my story. And just, I don't know, it's just like life stopped, or the few minutes that I was in the the room with the PA, it just stopped. My life just stopped right then and there. Like, for those few minutes, I couldn't hear anything else she said. All I heard was herpes and breakouts, and how somehow my life was over. That's what it felt like. And I was like, oh my God, like, so I actually do have it. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay. So I didn't didn't really react in that moment. Like, I didn't cry or anything, because that's how I cried when I first heard that I was diagnosed with it. So I really didn't cry at that time. It didn't hit me. I guess it didn't. So I don't know. It just did not hit me in that sense. I didn't cry or anything. I was like, okay, are you going to give me some medication for it? And she was like, yes, I can give you this to clear it up, give you some antivirals to help clear the actual breakout up. And the crazy thing about it was, I don't know, I felt like she didn't even want to touch me, the PA. Like, I feel like the PA did not even want to put their hands on me, because even though she was nice and she was telling me about the medication options, she just seemed like she did not want to touch me down there. And it made me feel even worse than before, and it made me more ashamed and more embarrassed than anything. So I went on with life, and I got went to the pharmacy, picked up the medication, and just sat in my room and just cried. And then a couple months went by, and I had another outbreak. So I was finally accepting it and realizing that that's what I had, and came to terms with it. So, and I've been accepting it ever since. And I wanted to come on here and tell that story because I am a lactation professional. So I'm trained by the state of Louisiana as a peer counselor, a breastfeeding peer counselor, to train moms into breastfeeding and things like that, and to provide guidance and support around that subject. And the crazy thing about it is, I was pregnant and had herpes. And I did not take antivirals while pregnant because I was told by the doctor who gave me this second opinion that you can't tell if someone has herpes unless they have an outbreak and the outbreak is tested. And that was not the right information, because I should have been taking antivirals while pregnant. Thankfully, I did not have an outbreak while I was in labor, because if I had had an outbreak and my daughter had came through the birth canal and all those things, she would have had it. And more than likely, she possibly would have died because, or been unalive from the herpes. A lot of times, small children do not survive herpes if they catch the outbreak. If their mother has an outbreak down there and they give birth and the baby catches the herpes, the baby can die. So I am very lucky that that did not happen in my situation. And I'm very grateful. And I was so angry when I came to that realization. Once I finally realized that I had the herpes, and I finally realized that this person gave this to me on purpose, and they did not tell me the truth. Because if they had told me the truth right then and there, I would have took the antivirals like I was supposed to and made sure nothing happened. And nothing did happen. Like I said, I'm very lucky in that sense, but I still would have liked to have known if they gave it to me or not. Of course, they weren't going to tell me because they were trying to give it to me, and they did. But I would have still liked to have known, because my daughter is the number one priority. And I just think that's heartless. I was so angry about it for a long time, and now I just have gotten to the point where I accept this. It's still heavy. It weighs very heavy on me, but I do accept it. Also, another thing is too, with my lactation background, you can still breastfeed if you have herpes. That's totally fine. It's just that you have to make sure you don't have any breakouts or any strange looking lesions or or outbreaks or sores or anything like that that's on your breast. You got to make sure you don't have any of that on your breast whenever the baby is breastfeeding, because they can catch it. But you can breastfeed if you are herpes positive. So just make sure you don't have any of those things on your breast when you're nursing. And that's why I say I'm so lucky. None of that ever happened to me. The whole time I was there, I breastfed my daughter for 12 months, and I never had an outbreak. I never had an outbreak while pregnant, and I never had an active outbreak while in labor. I was very lucky and very blessed. So be careful out here. They have people out here spreading diseases, and they do not care who they give it to. They are heartless. You know, they don't care. I had to learn that. I know it's upsetting to hear that people will just do that, but they will. They don't care. They want to give it to you. And people say, well, you can't die from herpes. I understand that. But it's something you still don't want, something that's incurable. I swear to you. I mean, I'm not trying to be, you know, for anyone else who has it, it's okay. You're fine. It's just the stigma is real. Like, I've seen people back away from me and everything because they had an idea that I had it. People just act funny with me, especially the PA in the urgent care. She just acted funny with me. Yeah, but that's what you have to live with when you do have it. That's why people don't share their status a whole lot. I'm doing this being brave. I wasn't even gonna come over here and say this, but I don't know if something told me to. I feel like I have to in a sense, because maybe someone who does have it can relate, and maybe they won't feel like they're alone, or they won't feel bad like I did, because I felt alone. I felt so bad. But a lot of people do have herpes. It's a large population of other people who have herpes 1 and herpes 2. So I'm not the only one. But I feel like it's not talked about enough. I feel like they don't talk about herpes enough. Even her, instances or situations where, like I said, the mother is breastfeeding. They don't even talk about breastfeeding and herpes often at all. I don't hear a lot of videos on it. I don't even see a lot of videos on it on YouTube here about that topic or that subject. I just don't. I don't see it at all. I see a lot of topics where they talk about HIV and AIDS and breastfeeding. I see that a lot, but I don't see a lot of herpes topics or situations on it. And I do see a lot of creators creating videos. I see a lot of content creators who may have herpes themselves, like I do, and they create content surrounding that and how to deal with it and how to deal with the stigma and how to continue dating and everything like that. I see that, but I don't see like a conversation about herpes and lactation. And I would like to see more of that as a lactation professional. I don't see a lot of awareness for it. I think we're even lucky to see the videos that we do see here on YouTube about herpes. But I'm glad that a lot of content creators are making content on it, and they're being very transparent about it and making people aware of the disease and how it works and how it happens and what are outbreaks and things like that. So, yeah. Yep. That's my story. For a long time, I thought I'd never be doing something like this. I'm still very on the fence about doing this live, but it's too late now. I've already done the live. You all can see everything, you all can hear me. But I'm just like, I'm wondering, should I repost this? Should I post the replay after this live is over? Because I'm just, I don't like to be judged by people. I know I shouldn't care about what people think, and what people think doesn't really matter at all, especially if they're not paying your bills, you know. But, I don't like to be stared at by people. I feel like I'm always an oddball whenever I go out anyway. So I feel like this is more of a reason for people to stare at me. Hopefully no one that hopefully no one that knows me or anyone who lives where I live sees this video. Hopefully that won't happen. But if they do, who cares? It is what it is at this point. I just want to use my story and use my experience and share it so other people won't feel alone who may have this disorder. I mean, who may have this disease. So they won't feel alone, because they're not alone. Yeah, that's it. That's my story. I would have stayed on here for an hour. I know, like I said, I know that if I had done the whole makeup tutorial, it would have been longer. We've already been here 31 minutes though, so far. If I had done the whole makeup tutorial, it would have been longer. It would have been like an hour. But like I said, I'm not really good with doing my makeup and telling the story. It's a little hard. They make so many people make it look easy. I know this one content creator, she makes that look so easy, and it does not look easy. I mean, it looks easy, but it is not easy as you think it is. Because you literally have to do your makeup, and then you're having to like remember the story and make it sound good, and make sure everything is. I didn't want to deal with the house of that, so I just did my face first, so you can see it. And I just told my story and just shared that with y'all. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a full Gyaru makeup tutorial for the next one. Hopefully I can be able to, don't quote me on it now, don't hold me to it. Hopefully I'll be able to do a non-live video, so maybe like a pre-recorded video where I'm doing this whole look over again so you can learn how to do it yourself. But this is the look. This is my Gyaru Fairy look here, and I love it. I think it turned out excellent. I think it's some of the best makeup that I've ever done whenever I'm coming in as my Chrysanthemum the Fairy. I think it's some of the best work. Yeah, I like it. This is really nice. But yeah, that's my story. I thought I'd never get on here and tell it. I don't know. For some reason, I felt compelled to tell it. Because that's also another thing I wanted to talk about. I saw this video and I can't remember entirely what the whole entire video was about. It was about one of those celebrities, and they had got divorced, and their wife became a single mother because of that. And I wrote on there, I went on the comments of that video, and I told my story about the herpes and being diagnosed with it. And I had no idea the comment would go viral, in a sense. I think that comment has about like 18K likes. It's like insane. It's probably more than that now. And so many people commented on it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe people who commented, who replied to my comment on that video, actually subscribed to me. I think that's how some of my, I think, or I believe, some of my subscribers come from that comment. So I was like, I shared it there and it got all these, it got so much, it garnered so much attention. And I kept telling myself, why am I afraid to keep telling this in a video? If I put it on a comment where everybody could see the comment, what's the big deal? But I don't know. The comment, doing the video and the comment are just two different things in my opinion. And for a long time, I just didn't feel comfortable doing a video like this. I guess because you can't really see my face on the comment. You don't know who I am. But when you do a video like this, you can see me. So it was so nerve-wracking. And if I was like stuttering at the beginning of this video, I'm so sorry. If you watch the replay of this and I was like kind of out of order in the beginning, so sorry about that. But I was pretty nervous doing this video because like I said, I just like, I don't know how people are going to view me, what they're going to say after seeing this video and after sharing my story. But that's it. I'm about to log off now. I may or may not repost this video. We will see. We shall see. I'm signing out. Remember, all that glitters should be whispered. Bye.